Hey everybody, this is Chris from Beer Bearings. I am here with Aly Wyrostek. She's a remote sales rep for Rhinegeist Brewery, and Rhinegeist is in Cincinnati. She's actually in Pittsburgh. I'm going to save all of that for her. She'll tell the story better than I can. Once again, we're doing kind of a porch sitting thing. That's the tradition in Louisiana. I am outside. Aly is not outside. Pittsburgh is a little chillier this time of year than New Orleans is, so that's what we're doing. So, Aly, the first thing I want to do, I made you bring a beer, so I want you to tell me what your beer is, and I'm going to get mine out here.
So I am drinking Outrun Cowboy, which is from Grist House, which is a local brewery here in Pittsburgh. They're located in Millvale. And because I'm a classy lady, I am double fisting. I also have a Cheetah from my company, Rhinegeist. So this is just our lager. It's super crushable.
Yeah, that's a great beer. So I used to work at Rhinegeist, full disclosure, and Aly and I did work. I won't say directly together, but we worked at the same company at the same time for a while. So
I've saw them a couple times a year.
I've got a little Rhinegeist in the back of my fridge too, but I chose to pull out today Lonely Road, Hellas by Urban South, which is about 7/10 of a mile from my door here. It's also my former employer, so I'm supporting those guys in the midst of COVID. We're gonna open these. I'm fancy. I have a glass, so I'm gonna pour that. I think I even have more or less the right glass for the style here. It's a Wheelie Becher. I don't speak German very well, but I can pour a beer.
You can.
So there's that. That's a really good looking thing. Cheers.
Ostrovia.
Okay, tell me a little bit about your history in beer. You've been around beer for a long time, and sort of what you're doing now too for Rhinegeist.
So I started running a bar in 2004. It was a little Tex-Mex joint. I was 18 when I started running it. It didn't even have a liquor license. So as I got older and, went through college, grad school, I started getting really into craft beer because my college had a little brewery right on campus, but we only had one bar and one brewery. So the line for the bar was always like around the corner. So it's like, well, I don't want to wait in line for 3 hours to go to the bar. Let's just go to the brewery. So I started drinking craft beer when I was 21. So I kind of got into it that way. Took that knowledge back to the bar I was running and, started making it into a craft bar when every single bar on the block didn't have good beer selection. So little Tex-Mex joint turned it into kind of a craft beer joint. So I worked there for 10 years, turned that into a beer bar. I worked for one of our wholesalers here in Pittsburgh for just 6 months. Like it was a real quick little jaunt, but I got to sell some really good brands like Fatheads, which is based in Cleveland, make some killer beers. They always clean up at GABF. Founders, Ballast Point before they were at Constellation. So I remember like Sculpin in a can was a huge deal.
Yeah.
It was like, would sell out immediately. So worked for them for just a 6-month period. And then I went to work for Long Trail and Otter Creek out of Vermont.
Right.
So I was with those guys for 4 years, covering Western PA. And then I left those guys in February of 2017. And I came on to Rhinegeist I launched Rhinegeist in Pennsylvania. And I started as their Western PA sales manager, just covering the Pittsburgh market. And then in January, I actually got bumped up to being a territory manager. And now I have Pittsburgh, Erie, and State College. So the western half of PA again.
Okay. Yeah. I didn't know that. We need to stay in touch better. We text a lot, but
yeah,
you can't get all that news in a text, I guess. So, congratulations belatedly for that. So talk a little bit about, it's interesting. You work for a brewery that's, a few hundred miles away from you, right? And differing liquor laws and all that sort of thing. So what are some of the challenges that you faced opening Pennsylvania, Western Pennsylvania, and kind of getting Rhinegeist into accounts out there? I think that's pretty interesting to try to bring in a foreign craft beer when everybody wants to drink local these days.
Yes. So, and that is like Pennsylvania, our liquor laws are wild. A lot of states have like a lot of chains. So like your Kroger's, your, what's it, Publix down where you are?
No, we don't actually have too many huge chains down here. Rouse's is our big kind of family run store.
So, and then our liquor stores are separate. So liquor is state run, liquor and wine, and then beer is like independent stores. So grocery and beer distributors are pretty much where I get it. But with how much the beer scene has grown in the last 10 years and how many local breweries are, everywhere, it's really important to like stay as relevant as you can in the local scene, being a foreign brewery. So I try to visit those guys. I try to support those guys. I mean, craft beer is supposed to be fun, right? It's not like, oh, here's this big bad brand that's trying to come in and blow up your spot. It's like, no, like it's a great time to be a beer drinker, right?
Right.
There's so much out there. There's so many styles. There's something for everybody. So being non-local in Pennsylvania, it's, hey, let's all play nice in the sandbox. I sell really good liquid too, and I do believe in it. I think it's great. I mean, you've had, what we can do over there in Ohio.
You do sell good liquid. Everybody I've brought a lot of it back down here, and people are constantly impressed by it. So
Yeah. And I do think it's just, being as local, like as active as you can with the local community. I try to do a lot of fundraisers with like local charities. I do a toy drive for a local women's shelter every year. So even though the beer is from, 300 miles away, it's that battle of making it, how is this relevant in Pittsburgh? So that's something I try to do every day that I go out, and every day I'm out in the streets.
without giving away sales numbers or any trade secrets or whatever, how successful have you all been in penetrating the market out there?
Very successful because even before Rhinegeist, I sold a brand from the 80s that was not super relevant. And so I have found the cool part about craft beer is that personal level to it, right? So like I have accounts that were like, I don't even like this beer, but you're here all the time and you're nice and you support me, so I want to support you back. So I think there has been success, and I think that's a good way to, be a part of your local beer scene, without trying to bulldoze the local beer scene.
Yeah. I want to back up and say, I'm going to talk about my beer for a second that I'm sipping on here. This thing is right on point. They're doing a great job over at Urban South. This is kind of in their wheelhouse. They do a lot of lagers. They have a local lager that's kind of really penetrated the market. There's a golden ale of all things, right? Which is a style you don't really see that much anymore, but
Yeah.
it's a Houdat branded golden ale, and it's absolutely perfect for Louisiana, and it's great. So a lager like this is right in their wheelhouse, and this is pretty awesome. You want to give me the thumbnail review of the one you're doing there?
So this is a Keller Pils from Chris House, and they do a lot of hazies, they do a lot of stouts, but their crispy boys are just on point. Like I'm a huge fan. It has a little bit of that like Euro funkiness to it.
Yeah.
I'm real into it, and it's super crushable. It's just 5%.
So obviously we're all kind of hanging out at home a little bit more than we are used to these days. How has the COVID-19 pandemic affected what you're doing day to day, and what are you doing day to day in the middle of it?
So day to day, here in Pennsylvania, they did shut down our state stores. So you can't go buy liquor and wine right now. You can go to grocery stores and you can go to beer distributors because they have ruled those essential because our beer distributors sell like soda, water, snacks. So they're trying to take pressure off of the grocery store.
Right.
I've actually never worked this hard. Like I'm out, early in the mornings, I'm in accounts, I'm stocking beer, I'm trying to like build displays with it. So I'm like physically carrying cases of beer. I'm out, more than I normally would be, seeing distributors and stuff. So I'm working super hard right now.
So back at the home planet, the brewery, the tap room is shut down, right? And
Yeah.
they're doing curbside pickup, I believe.
Yep.
Okay. Order online, pick up curbside. Production still happening, I think.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, obviously no kegs.
Right.
We're canning everything.
Okay.
Yeah, but like I'm still getting regular trucks. I get a truck to Pittsburgh every 2 weeks, and they're still coming.
So you say you're out at distributors, you're out at stores all the time these days. So you're doing your own merchandising, basically.
Yeah.
That's something you wouldn't normally do, right? Because the distributor would mostly do that for you.
Yeah.
At this point, yeah. So that's a change. On your own sort of level, are you, other than going out and working, are you getting out to support local as well? We're trying to around here. We try to go to breweries and buy beer. We try to go to restaurants that are offering takeout and so on. What's the situation in Pittsburgh?
I'm trying as best I can, actually, to a point where I'm like, maybe you should curb it a little bit, like, because when this is all over, I have all of my friends that run bars and own bars, and I want them to still be there when this is over.
Right.
So I'm getting takeout from them a couple of times a week. I'm going to my local breweries. I'm buying some cases or cans of beer off of them. I'm even, and again, I might have to curb my spending a little bit, but like, I have some friends that work for breweries, like friends in Florida, friends in California, and obviously I can't go get beer, but like, I bought a t-shirt off of one of them. I bought a hoodie off of one of them, and I'm like, all right, you don't need any more beer clothes, but like, I wanted to like support them.
Well, and people are buying, offering gift cards and, things that you can purchase now and use later with them and all of that. So yeah, there are all sorts of ways that you can support. So I guess that leads me to my next question, which is, in your mind, you're out there and you're in a very sort of different capacity from a lot of folks. So what is the best thing people can do right now to support their local breweries or even breweries from far away that they appreciate? You just raised a great point. You can go online and purchase merchandise, or we talked about gift cards or whatever. So in your mind, what's the best thing people can do right now to support breweries?
The best thing, spend if you have the money right now, because I know a lot of people, some statistic,
Right.
it's like 1 in 5 people are unemployed right now. So, I mean, if you have the money, like, go buy beer and then tip the shit out of whoever gave it to you. Like, just leave a nice fat tip on that line.
Amen.
Gift cards is a good idea too, because like, yeah, do you need 12 cases of beer from local breweries? No, buy a gift card, go back later. Like.
Yeah, and that unfortunately that doesn't necessarily, it may or it may not, but it doesn't necessarily make it to the tipped employees, at least not fully. So when you go back and spend that gift card in a couple of months or whenever you get in there, continue to tip.
Tip, tip,
Tip,
tip.
tip, tip. Yeah, absolutely. What is the situation in Pennsylvania with the state governor, and what sort of restrictions are you under? I think you said stores were still open and all of that. What other restrictions are going on up there?
So we are currently shelter in place, meaning that if you are a healthcare worker or like a grocery provider, you're not supposed to be working. So like, I even have a little permission slip from the brewery saying like I'm allowed to be out, but a little hall pass from the brewery. Liquor, I said state stores are closed, but I said beer distributors are open. So they've considered beer distributors to be grocery. So as far as everything I've seen and all the restrictions that seemingly change, every hour, beer will still be available for sale.
Louisiana's got it really bad. We actually might run out of ventilators this week for people, and I don't know where the situation is up there. I don't think it's quite as bad, but I think your folks are being a little more proactive, perhaps, based on the lessons that other people have learned.
Yeah, I mean, it's I don't want to say we have it under control, because no one has it under control, right? But it does seem like it is a little bit slower here, especially in Western PA. I know Philly got hit really hard.
Yeah.
So as far as like Pittsburgh, Allegheny County, like, it seems like there's some type of handle on the situation.
It's good. Well, and hopefully the lack of travel will help that situation.
So. Yeah, for sure.
This has been really interesting. I really appreciate you chatting with me this morning. It's a little early. We're doing this at about it's about 10:40 probably local time here in Louisiana. So I've had my first beer of the day already, and
breakfast beer.
And Aly is about an hour ahead of me. So I appreciate you being with me today. Do you have any last thoughts or anything final that you'd like to say to folks before we wrap it up?
I can't reiterate it enough, but just, support your people. If you can, support your local bars, your local breweries, your restaurants. Like, if you can, it's important right now.
All right. Well, hey, I appreciate it. So that was Aly Wyrostek, who works for Rhinegeist, and she's up all by herself, all by herself from a corporate standpoint anyway, in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Really appreciate you taking the time out today. Let's get one more cheers in, virtual cheers. Cheers, my friend.
Thank you. And it was great chatting with you. It was great to see you.
Thanks so much. And hopefully we'll chat soon, and hopefully we'll be able to give each other some well-deserved crap about our soccer teams.
I love it. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
So that was my conversation with Aly Wyrostek, the Pittsburgh and Western Pennsylvania territory manager for Rhinegeist Brewery.
Rhinegeist is located in Cincinnati, Ohio. So we talked a little bit about what's happening back at the brewery itself, which I call the home planet on the video, and also what Aly is doing out in Western Pennsylvania to keep in touch with accounts and keep working with grocery stores and retail locations that are still open and in service. I hope you enjoyed that. We got into a little bit about what's going on around the pandemic in Western Pennsylvania and maybe a little bit in Louisiana too. If you like this kind of content, please look for other videos that I've done in this series in the channel. Please like and subscribe. I would really appreciate that. If you have comments, leave those in the comments below. But until next time, thanks so much for joining me. This is Chris from Beer Bearings.